Okay, so my name is Remi Lambert, as you perfectly know. I am Global CIO at AXA IM Select, formerly for most of the people in the UK at AXA. I run the investment team, so we're based out of 6 locations, Paris, London, Dublin, Brussels, Hong Kong, Jakarta. And we bring investment solutions to our clients. We try to do the best solutions we can provide to our clients. That's what I do. So first of all, thank you. Thank you to you and your teams. I'm going to be very simple about it. It's always good to be recognized for the efforts, the hard work that we put. I don't think it's just my achievement even if it's only my name that's on the award. I have a very good team. As I said, they're based in different locations, different cultures, different nationalities. It's a great team, and therefore it's much more of a collective effort because I'm not all alone in doing this business. So yes, it's great to be recognized and for the hard work that we put in on a daily basis. First of all, we've been in the business of multi-management since 2008. Under the name Architas, and then we've changed very recently because we were in the AXA group to AXA IM Select. So we've been in the business for a long time. We have obviously, like most of our competitors, we have a process around operational due diligence, investment due diligence, and we focus on quantitative and qualitative assessment. But at the end of the day, as I said, I truly believe that it's the people at the end of the day that make the difference. It may sound ordinary, but I really believe in that. And why is that? For a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, they're very much empowered. Now, empowered is a word that everybody uses, but what does empowerment mean? At least from my perspective, is they're accountable and they can actually influence the process. It's not just top down. They can influence. This needs to be changed. This needs to be improved. So it's very much a work in progress, and we're always changing that. The second thing is, as I said, the people are in different locations, and I broke the silos, people working in Dublin exclusively for Dublin, and I got the teams to mix. Mixed, for example, if I were to give you European equities, you've got people that are working on the same team but are based out of Dublin, London, Paris and Brussels. Or even if we were looking at Chinese equity, I got somebody from Hong Kong, Jakarta and Dublin working together. So I have this mix of cultures. And the other element which I think is very important is we've been mixing different levels of seniority. So people that are very experienced working with less experienced people so that we can help those people grow, acquire that knowledge, and the other way around, they can support their more senior people. So I think it's truly a business about people. That's what we sell. We sell brain juice at the end of the day, don't we? Performances is brain juice. Very briefly, because we're also a fund selector, but we also manage investment solutions, what has worked was our tactical asset allocation, which is part of our portfolio construction. On the fund selection, it's been, again, a very difficult year. We have to admit it. 2023 for active managers was a complicated year. 2024 was a complicated year, but to a lesser extent. Now, that's the big picture, but if you look and deep dive a bit more, where it has worked for us is mostly on the bond side. Bond managers have been able to extract value for our clients. The alternative side, so I'd be talking about the hedge fund, the liquid hedge funds have been delivering good performances versus what you can say, compare them to their benchmarks or their peers. The place and the segment in the market, which has been much more complicated over the years, is obviously the US equities and global equities. I mean, finding very good fund managers, and when I'm talking about good is that they're consistent over time. That is still a struggle there. We're trying to find those. So yes, 2024 has been a good year overall, but the active managers, some of the active managers are still struggling there. Going down into 2025, well, we still are going to be, I try to avoid, and that's what I say to my teams, try to avoid falling in love with a firm and a fund manager. You need to think about your client at the end of the day, and is this solution, this investment solution, this fund is appropriate for your end client. And often, well, you know, the answer is in the question. So there. So we'll see. We still are, you know, we still are digging, we still are searching, we still are finding. You've got big franchise and big asset managers. You've got smaller asset managers. Do you want to pick an investment process? Do you want to pick a star? Again, we're open to any option that can provide value to our clients there. So you spoiled a lot of my pitch, which is obviously around the US. So there's political and geopolitical. I'll put aside the geopolitical because that's actually a bit out of our remit. You talked about Ukraine, you talked also about the Middle East, but you also have Taiwan and China, so you have a lot of geopolitical issues there. If I were to focus mostly on the US, well, obviously everybody's seen that Trump is going to be back in office, so his administration. Everybody's going to be focusing on a couple of elements that he's said, you know, the tax cut, immigration, the deregulation, around energy, the tech and the finance industry. And we're going to see how all of that is going to filter into the markets. So again, from a pure, I would say, macro point of view, there's going to be a lot of impacts around inflation and growth, and we're going to see how that actually plays out. And the story is as I talk to you, we can see that actually the bond market is looking at the story very differently than the equity markets. The equity markets are buying the Trump trade, everything around tax reduction, and the bond market is stressed about the inflation rising potentially in the US. So you've got two markets that are giving actually mixed signals. So there's not an alignment in terms of the markets there. The other element is obviously, yes, you talked about portfolio construction. At the end of the day, it's always hard to guess how the world will be in 1, 2, 3 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4 months there. So portfolio construction is essential. And yes, we will have to adapt to that environment in our fund selection. So selecting the appropriate funds. Do you use a US value fund? Because actually deregulation of the banking industry would be very supportive and less to the tech industry. So we will have to adapt to that from a fund selection point of view, and also obviously from a tactical asset allocation point of view. So again, I think there's not one year that looks like the previous year in our industry and our jobs there. So we need to adapt. We need to be flexible. We need to be reactive. Not overly reactive, because sometimes you can, you know, take inconsiderate risk or make some errors in terms of investment, but we need to focus on that. So it's going to be another delightful 2025 year that is going to be ahead of us.